Massive round of class buffs and nerfs again this week. Patch 11.2.7 event changes, and WoW's 21st anniversary. I've already talked a lot about the anniversary event. It's nothing too crazy. It's like a refresh of the 20th. More stuff. All you really get is a new Transmog and stuff. But what I'm really interested in is this another round of class buffs and nerfs. Let's get into this here with Kalani.
Hey folks, this is Kalani. We have some massive class buffs and nerfs to go over this week, including a lot more melee seeing huge auto-attack damage buffs. The 21st anniversary event went live this week, though quite a few parts seem to be missing when compared to last year. An event was quietly removed from the patch 11.2.7 content lineup, and there's also an update about the new Transmog system, which should make that 800,000 gold price tag a bit easier to accept. There's a lot to talk about, so let's break it all down in this week's WoW news video. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit on that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. Let's kick things off with this week's round of class changes, buffs and nerfs. We're going to see a lot more big auto-attack damage buffs for the melee specifically, so keep that in mind as we work through the notes.
Alright, this makes sense considering the class changes are all coming in. You're getting a lot of pruning going down, so less complicated rotations means there will be a lot of drop-off in damage if they didn't do this. So what they're doing essentially is just bringing up the damage on the auto-attack shit. So your auto attacks are going to do more damage now, which should even out the fact that you're doing less of a rotation. Look, overall, I still think these changes are the right thing. You play an Alliance at midnight? Of course.
For Death Knights, Blood will see a 150% buff to their auto attacks. Blood Boil damage was reduced by 12%. Deadly Reach now deals 75% of Death Strike damage to additional targets hit. Blood Shot now increases all damage by 8% when Blood Shield is active. And there's a new talent that reflects damage back to attackers while you have a Blood Shield active. Frost only has one change this week, but it's a huge 400% buff to their auto attack damage.
Huge buff.
For Unholy, quite a lot of talents have been redesigned or updated. Commander of the Dead now increases your ghoul duration based on your mastery. Their auto-attack damage was increased by 300%. Army of the Dead now summons 6 lesser ghouls. Lesser ghouls only last for 6 seconds baseline, and quite a lot of talents have been nerfed, like March of Madness, providing less damage boosts for ghouls, Raise Abomination, and Summon Gargoyle only putrid.
Man, like when they said they're going to boost auto-attack, like 300% here, and you saw Frost was 400%, those are massive. You're 4xing that shit. That's pretty.
Flying 2 ghouls
that's
instead
pretty big.
Of 4. Magus of the Dead no longer applies to Army of the Dead.
You can
sweeping claws.
Now you can just auto attack and single button rotation. Oh my god, it's an easy game, man.
Single target damage saw a buff, but it was nerfed in cleave and AoE situations. And Infected Claws now scales with mastery, and then there are a few bug fixes as well. For the Demon Hunters, Devourer saw even more nerfs this week. A few effects have been updated, their mastery effectiveness was reduced, and then Void Ray, Reap, Collapsing Star, Void Blade, Hungering Slash, and Void Step all saw a 25% damage nerf. So I guess there was
I wouldn't think that this means that Devourer, which is the new Void Demon Hunter, is going to be bad or something. It's just these classes, when they first introduce them, they're always overtuned. They're always super high on damage and everything else. So they're just probably trying to bring them back into line.
Doing a bit too well.
I'm expecting a lot of people to play this though.
And maybe they don't want the new spec to be crazy overpowered when it is first introduced. Moving on to the Druids, Thrash can no longer be used in cat form. All Druids will learn Bear form Thrash at level 11. Swipe is now a class talent. Shred damage was increased by 40%, and cat form Swipe damage was increased by 25%. For Feral specifically, Chomp has been updated.
Are they boosting? Feral needs it. Let's see. Yeah, increase in damage. Good, good. Yeah, Feral needs it. I've been feeling bad for Feral. I feel like they're like the forgotten Druid class for some reason. They've just been sitting in the... Like, Boomkin has had its times where it booms and buffs and then comes back down. Feral, I feel like, has had... Oh, it's getting good. It's getting... No, it's not. Just kidding. I don't know what it is about Feral, but it looks like they need some damage boost. They're getting it.
Got a nasty 27% nerf across the board. Melee damage is increased by 115%. Moonfire with Lunar
All ability damage reduced by 27%, though. What the fuck? I don't think they needed that.
Damage is increased by 15%.
Maybe they were doing good on PTR. I have no idea.
Frenzy damage is up 15%. Chomp damage is increased by 10%. Unseen Slash, Bleed, and Swipe damage was increased by 30%. Merciless Claws was buffed up slightly, and some effects relating to Thrash have been removed. For Guardian, they have a couple of new talents. Their Apex talents were updated, Dreamer's Scenarios was updated to a proc per minute effect, Ursoc's Fury was buffed up to 40%, and some talents were removed or moved around. Now, if you're anything like me, you probably stay up way too late getting those extra dungeon runs or raid kills in, but all that extra light late at night can make it hard to fall asleep. That's where the sponsor of today's video, Man to Sleep, comes in very handy.
Look at
Man
that
to
ad.
Sleep masks are super comfortable thanks to their adjustability. You can move the eyepieces around so it properly fits your face. The eye padding means there's no pressure on your eyes, and they're 100% blackout, so they're great for naps during the day too. The sound mask has Bluetooth speakers
I'm going to stream
built
with this
in,
on
so if
hardcore
you need
while
music to
streaming.
get to sleep, that's going to be a perfect fit. Or if you prefer more of a background sound, their white noise machine provides a constant sound shield that blocks other disturbing noises. If you click the link in the description or use the code Kalani, you'll get 10% off.
Use this code. Yeah, pretty much all melee got a big buff to their auto attacks.
Back to the video. Evokers are up next, and they only have a couple of changes this week. For augmentation, eruption casts by your duplicate had their damage reduced by 30%, and they also saw a 10% reduction to all spell and ability damage. The dev team are probably keeping a close eye on augmentation specifically, with all of their other changes coming through. For the hunters, marksmanship will see some buffs to true shot to reduce the cooldown of aim shot further. The new quick draw talent causes aim shot to give you a significant movement speed boost for a very short window. That should help.
I like all the buffing they've been doing with marksmanship with aim shot. You guys probably be like, oh, Sam, you don't know shit about Hunter. I used to play Hunter, okay? I know a little bit about it. And I think balancing things around aim shot for Hunter is the right way to go with that class fantasy, because you just want to pop off those aim shots. That's what it should be about. It's almost like a pyroblast for a mage. You just want those aim shots popping out. Big damage.
With stutter stepping your shots and positioning
well. Of course you did.
well.
Yeah, everyone did. It's the first character in WoW
was increased and its cast time was reduced. Kill shot damage was buffed by 75% and rapid fire was increased by 100%. And then for survival, Strikers 1 was updated to also increase your pet's damage, kill command damage was increased by 200%, and auto attack damage was increased by 150%.
Big melee buffs again.
Moving on to the mages, Frost has already seen some backpedaling. Last week Shatter was nerfed quite significantly, and that's being reverted somewhat, so Shatter damage has been increased by 50% this week. Thermal Void now also triggers from Brain Freeze, Flurry damage was reduced by 15%, and the Ice Lance Shatter stack change was reverted as well.
I wonder with like the re-emphasis on PvP and everything, because like PvP is supposed to be getting a lot of attention at midnight. If you don't know already, you got a whole outdoor PvP battleground. You got all this new PvP shit coming. Big 40 on 40 battleground. So a lot of stuff coming for PvP, getting a lot of attention. I wonder if Frost Mage is going to regain popularity again, because that was such a big. It's always been a big PvP thing. If you still do arenas and stuff, you see Frost Mages still. But with the return of all this open world PvP shit going down, I wonder if we're going to see a lot of people playing Frost again.
Maybe this kind of update is what the dev team meant when they said we'd see balance tuning happen much faster. Usually we'd have to wait at least another week to see some over nerfs reverted, but I guess we'll see what the next few months bring our way. For the monks, Mistweaver has a lot of changes. Enveloping Mist mana cost was reduced, Mana Tea will restore more mana, Rushing Wind Kick's mana cost was reduced by 50%, Soothing Breath healing was increased by 100%, and Enveloping Mist saw a 50% buff, but they did get a 5% nerf overall. Jadefire Teachings and Ancient Teachings will transfer less damage done, and then Revival and Restoral Healing were increased by 100%. So lots of back and forth for Mistweaver this week. Now for the Windwalkers, Singularly Focused Jade now increases Jadefire Stomp's damage by 300%, down from 500%, Celestial Conduit damage saw a hefty 75% nerf, Zenith Stomp damage was reduced by 33%, Jadefire Stomp damage is down 66%, and they'll see a 13% nerf across the board on top of all of that, but they will see a 200% increase to auto attack damage.
Yeah, so again, they reduced a lot of shit, but then they increased the crap out of auto attack damage. I wonder how all that's going to balance out. I do. Like, is melee just going to be a lot better? Or are some of these reductions going to just even this shit out?
Super ideal changes for Windwalker this week. Paladins are up next, and for Holy, Avenging Crusader has been updated to now grant Crusader Strike for its duration. Crusader Strike now transforms damage into healing.
Auto attack damage increased by 1,000%. What the hell?
It no longer increases
During
the damage of
Avenging
judgment, and
Avenging
auto-attack
Crusader.
damage will be buffed by 1,000% for its
I don't know if I've
duration
ever seen
instead of
1,000% buff.
30%, which sounds absolutely insane. Crusader's Might was updated to also cause Crusader Strike to decrease the cooldown of judgment. For Retribution, Crusading Strikes will once again replace your auto-attack and be a choice node with Templar Strikes, but you will auto-attack 50% slower.
The numbers don't mean shit right now. It's true that like we don't have any real fathomable like way of computating these numbers right now, but you could just get the sense of what Blizzard's trying to do based on these numbers. Clearly, they want melee to hit harder on auto attacks. Like that's a thing. I do think melee's taken a bit of a back seat in a lot of raid mechanics lately and stuff. Like it's just easier to play as a range because you don't got to deal with some shit right in front of the boss the way melee do. But the auto attack changes, then merging that with nerfs to other abilities, I just don't know how that's going to balance out in terms of damage output.
Crusading Strike's damage is being increased by 200%, and auto-attack damage has been increased by 300%, but that will not affect Crusading Strikes. And then Hammer of Wrath damage was increased by 30%. So Retribution will be able to carry forward that passive version of Crusader Strike, which will free up a slot on your action bar and feel very similar to how they play in the War Within right now. For the priests, Depth of Shadows was moved into the Shadow and Disc trees, and Void Wraith has been redesigned. For Discipline, the number of Void Shields you can have active is now uncapped instead of being limited to 3, so there's some huge potential there. Atonement was nerfed to heal for 50% of damage done, down from 60%, so we're playing that back and forth once more. Mind Blast damage was reduced by 30%, and Shadow Fiend was removed entirely.
I hope Discipline Priest is good. I do. I like it when Discipline Priest is good. I don't know, because it buffs me, right? It's for selfish reasons. I like having a Discipline Priest in the group when Discipline Priests are buffed, and they're a buff class technically. They are the pre-evoker evokers, right? Because they were augmentation before augmentation existed. So I hope they're good. And I hope Enhancement Shaman's good, and I hope Augmentation's good, because then I get buffed.
And Shadow Fiend was removed entirely. For Shadow, Shadow Fiend and its variants have been removed as well and replaced with proc-based versions instead. There are a few new talents to give your shadowy apparitions more interactions and let your Tentacle Slam apply more debuffs. Mental Decay will no longer extend your debuffs, but it increases the damage of Mind Flay by 25%, up from 15%. Surge of Insanity was nerfed down to a 15% damage increase from a 60% increase, so that's a pretty hefty nerf, and then Mind Flay and Mind Flay Insanity damage were increased by 40%. Moving on to the rogues, Subtlety has a whole bunch of changes this week. Rupture and Symbols of Death were removed, and some of their effects moved onto other abilities. There are some new talents to explore. Quite a few talents have been redesigned to be simpler, and a lot of their damage has been shifted around. They'll see a 17% nerf for all ability damage, melee auto-attack damage has been increased by 82%, and Shadow Strike damage will see a further 10% nerf. Backstab and Gloomblade damage are increased by 20%.
Wow, look at all the talents that have been removed. What the hell? They got a lot of changes to their talent trees.
Shuriken Storm damage is up 50%, Eviscerate damage saw a 14% buff, Black Powder is up 9%, Secret Technique damage will see a 26% buff, and Dance Macabre effect damage will be increased by 110%. Shadow Dance's duration was reduced to 6 seconds baseline, but its cooldown was also reduced to 20 seconds, so you'll have it more often, but it won't last quite as long. And then quite a few effects that used to trigger from Symbols of Death will now trigger from Shadow Dance instead. For the Shamans, they have almost no notes again, which definitely doesn't bode well.
Well, their auto attack's up 300%, so there you go. I mean, another big auto attack buff. Shamans, nothing else to show for it, though.
With how many updates the other classes are receiving, but Enhancement will be getting a 300% buff to their auto attack damage, so that's definitely not insignificant. The Warlocks are up next, and Affliction has a lot of changes. There are quite a few new talents, some talents and effects have been redesigned, there are some interesting new AoE options. Unstable Affliction damage was reduced by 75%, which seems like a pretty hefty nerf, and the talent tree has been shifted around quite a bit, with a handful of talents being removed completely.
You can't see them because it's behind the ad, but talents that were removed are Cloying Power, Hexweaver, Relinquish, and Soul Soul Misser.
Completely. For Demonology, there's a new talent to empower your Felguard's Fellstorm, Blighted Maw has been updated, Summon Demonic Tyrant has been updated to only benefit from Wild Imp and Dreadstalker demons, and then...
Oh, damn, look at that implosion damage. Do you guys remember, was it implosion where you... what's the ability where you blow up your imps? Because if this is that shit goes off. 500% buff to this, and I remember when it was really buffed, and Warlocks were doing some of the craziest damage we've ever seen, because these just blow up all the imps at once. I don't know if Implosion is that ability, but if it is, it might be back. That's it? It is? Oh, shit. Okay, Implosion's back. Nice. 500% buff. That's going to go off again. Oh, I loved it when it was going off, because you would just see crazy spikes in their damage.
The damage bonus is actually going to be applied from currently active demons, not from active demons when the Tyrant is summoned. So summoning demons after you've used your Tyrant will actually still provide that damage boost, making Tyrant quite a bit easier to use and less punishing if you get it wrong. Implosion damage was also increased by 500%,
nice.
and Aura of Contempt was removed. And then last but not least, we come to the Warriors. For Arms, they're going to see a 20% nerf for all damage and abilities, which is definitely going to sting, but their auto-attack damage was increased by 150%.
Okay, let's see how that balances out.
I wonder how much of the all-ability damage nerf was to offset that melee damage increase.
That's what I think we're seeing here, is like they increase auto-attack damage, which should increase overall damage a lot, but then it's too much, so then they got to nerf other abilities to bring down their damage a little bit.
Fury will see a 200% bonus to their auto-attack damage, and their Apex talents have been nerfed already, reducing that buff extension from 2 seconds to 1 second. That's all for the class changes on the Midnight Beta this week. It is interesting to see a large portion of the melee damage profile being moved into auto-attack damage. Because to balance out those increases, a lower proportion of damage will come from your active abilities, which could make your actual buttons less impactful. Melee uptime will become even more important, which is kind of weird because you won't have any add-ons to track your melee swing timers. So that could prove to be a bit of a problem, and your damage as a melee should be quite a bit higher even if you aren't necessarily executing your rotation very well, because your auto attacks are going to be doing a lot of work just by themselves. This could also make melee much easier to play versus casters, simply because casters just don't have that same passive filler damage. I'm curious to see how this plays out. The dev team did say we would see much faster balanced tuning this time around, so a lot could happen over the next month or two. Now, in other Midnight news, this week we got our first hands-on experience with the big Transmog updates coming in the Midnight expansion. If you have no...
Hey, look at that, man. The community changed Blizzard. I told you it was going to happen. What's up, Pay? What's up, Prey? The thing is, people were bitching about this. They were losing their damn minds. And I guess, I mean, rightfully so. They bitched, and they got what they wanted. Blizzard took back all the cost increases to Transmog. Now, it's still going to cost you, but not like it was before, where it was like 800k gold to get all of your Transmog slots unlocked and stuff like that. So good changes. Listen to feedback. Look at that.
No idea what I'm talking about. I'll give you a link in the comments to the video where we went over all of the changes, because they are pretty significant. If you like to tinker about with your transmogs even a little bit, you will want to know about these changes. One specific change that raised a lot of eyebrows was the outfit slot unlock costs. You can have up to 20 outfits to play around with, which sounds like a lot of fun.
And it was per character 800k gold, because it wasn't a Warband account-wide thing.
When you add the situations mechanic into the mix, but unlocking all 20 of those slots would cost almost 800,000 gold.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
On top of that, the outfit slots were not account-wide on the beta, so naturally we assumed each character would have to fork over 800,000 gold to unlock all of their slots individually.
Yeah, that was going to be crazy.
The dev team did respond to a post on the official forums saying that the plan is for the outfit slots to be an account-wide unlock, so you should only have to unlock each slot once, and then all of your characters will have access to your unlocked slots. So if you do manage to buy all 20 slots, all of your characters will have those 20 to play with, and you only ever have to buy them once, so that is some very good news on that front. The post did talk a little bit about the gold cost, but only to say that the gold price would not increase with the added account-wide functionality, which, I mean, I would hope not. Almost $1 million gold is already quite expensive, but that kind of tells...
Although, I mean, why do you need why do you need so many outfits, guys? I don't know. What is it? 20 slots? 20 slots of outfits? I mean, Jesus. I don't need that much transmog. I'll just change the outfits. You know what? I don't need 20 different outfits, but I guess RPers do maybe. Maybe that's what it is. They need, they need their Stormwind outfit, and then they need their Lion's Pride Insects Dungeon outfit. Maybe that's what it is. So when's the glory raid for Demacia? I don't know yet. I don't know. I haven't planned it out, but we'll do it.
Tells me the dev team don't really plan to reduce the gold cost either, but at the very least, those outfit unlock prices should be a one-time account-wide deal.
Yeah, they should be for sure.
Moving on, World of Warcraft's 21st anniversary event started up quite quietly this week, so I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't even notice. The celebration grounds are active once again, just outside of the Caverns of Time in Tanaris, and the event seems to be largely the same as the 20th anniversary event with a few changes. There's a new Transmog to pick up from the armor vendor, a couple of vendors are missing, you can only do the Blackrock Depths raid on LFR mode, and the quests related to the raid don't seem to be active, and the vendors who you trade time-warped relic coffer keys into are missing as well.
Right.
None of the daily or weekly quests, reward boxes
It's
of gear
alright.
this year.
The whole event's alright. I mean, we didn't used to get an anniversary event every year, and now I guess we're going to, so it's fine. It's fine. I would have liked a cooler Transmog, though. Like, if they made a cooler Transmog, I would have actually gone out and gotten it. This one's just, yes, it's okay.
Either, so the anniversary event doesn't provide a gear catch-up like it did
I don't have a
last
movie coming
year.
out. What you
The event still provides all of your characters with a 10% bonus to all experience and reputation gains, and that buff is actually active in Legion Remix, so you can level a bit faster in Legion Remix right now too. The daily quest that provides an extra 10% experience and reputation gains is still available at the Celebration Grounds, so if you want to level up any alts outside of Legion Remix or farm some reputation and renown, that's definitely worth picking up, and you can still take part in the mount matching, the Transmog competition, and listen to Lorewalker Cho's stories. All of the world bosses are also active too if you want to go hunt those down. The anniversary event will run until December 7th, so you've got 3 weeks to enjoy the festivities. As part of the anniversary event, the Gilded Brutosaur mount has returned to the cash shop at the same price as last year, a whopping $90. None of the extra incentives that were data mined are included for Western Realms, like the extra Trader's Tender that was seen in some data mined images, so it's just the Brutosaur mount at the same price point, so nothing too special
The Bruto's
going on
back.
with it. But with it back in the shop for the 21st...
When they data mined the Bruto was coming back, I was kind of hoping they would give it some other functionality or something. They didn't. They just give it. It's the same one. I want a Brutosaur with a summoning stone on it. I just think that'd be a game changer, like a mobile summoning stone. You could just summon your raid or group wherever you want. That would be cool.
Anniversary, that does beg the question: will this
put
mount pop
a
back
big
up
stone
every
on its back?
single year? I guess we'll have to wait and see what the 22nd anniversary brings us, but that might mean if you don't have enough gold to exchange for Battle.net balance to buy the mount this year, you might be able to pick it up next year if you really want it. So I guess the FOMO on this mount may have been a bit of a trap back during the 20th anniversary event.
Summoning
And then the
scrolls like
last
remix,
little
yeah.
update for this video is that patch 11.2.7 won't actually have one specific event that was initially included in the announcement post. When this blue post was first released, it included an image of the Winds of Mysterious Fortune event, which a lot of people thought was a bit weird, because I don't think anyone had specifically mentioned that event returning yet, but we have seen it multiple times at this point, so I wouldn't really expect any kind of fanfare for it. It's kind of a typical 0.7 patch event at this point.
Or Commando, that'd be hilarious. I want a hunter pet that summons players like a chicken, and the player spawns out of the egg. I just think we should have more abilities to summon in the game. I just feel like that's so locked down to warlocks, and if you don't have a warlock in the raid, you're not summoning shit. I just feel like we need more ways to summon in this game. I don't even if you give it to mages and make it so their portals they can open up a summoning portal or something. I don't know. But I just feel like more abilities to summon would be a nice add to the game.
That image was actually removed from the blue post with no mention of the event at all. So I guess we won't see the Winds of Mysterious Fortune event return for patch 11.2.7, which honestly isn't that big of a deal. There's already a lot going on with the Legion Remix continuing through to the new year. We'll have 10 weeks of time walking during the Turbulent Timeways event, and the housing system will keep a lot of players busy for quite a long time. So I don't really think many players players would miss the Winds of Mysterious Fortune event anyway, but I figure it's important to update you just in case anyone was wondering why that event doesn't pop up after the patch goes live on December 2nd.
Right.
But that's all of the updates we have so far, so that's it for this week's WoW news video. What do you think about Melee getting huge buffs to their auto attack damage, potentially at the expense of damage from their active abilities? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members here on YouTube. You can see the names floating by on screen. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can find links in the description or click the join button just below the video. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful in any way, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you're always kept up to date. Thanks for watching, folks. Good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.
There you go. Nice video from Kalani. It's good buffs. Overall, Blizzard's, I think, trying to kind of rework how damage output works on Melee. So buffing the shit out of their auto attacks and then kind of nerfing some of their other abilities to balance it out. We'll see how it all works out. Maybe we're entering the age of Melee again. We'll see. Nice video.